General Lee from the Ministry of Korea.
Good morning. How is everybody today? Good?
Very nice.
Yes. Excellent, excellent. Okay, I've got some cards on the table. Why don't you come on in? Thank you. Cards here. Some maps and some information for the Highway Operations Center. You're welcome. So you've had a good tour so far?
Yeah.
The weather's been nice?
It was great.
A little bit hot.
Well, yeah, I guess it's going to be...
Typical summer.
It is still summer, right? It could be snow. It could be worse.
Yeah.
We'll take the warmth for today, especially going into the good weekend. So Bob brought you around. I saw you went to Vent Building 4. So you did see some of the equipment. Did you get a chance to drive through the tunnels and
Yes.
over the bridge?
Yeah,
Okay.
he did.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so again, my name is Mike Fitzpatrick. I'm one of the managers here. And this is the MassDot's Highway Operations Center. And is everybody fluent in English? Should I go
Yes.
through you? Okay, good. So this operations center runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Generally, we have 6 to 10 operators on duty at all times.
Okay, 6 to 10.
6 to 10, yes.
3 shifts a day.
3 shifts a day.
Okay.
So
한개대.
we are short about 12 operators right now through moving on or retirement, etc. And we need a few more on top of that. So we're looking to hire people. But one of the issues that's holding us up right now is MassDot has been in existence about 3 years now. And what used to be MassDot were a multitude of state agencies and entities that are now pushed together, integrated. We had the former Massachusetts Highway Department in that operation. We had the former Mass Turnpike Authority, which had the toll roads, and that former organization. Massport, which controls the Boston Harbor and the airports across the state. We picked up one of their bridges, and that's operations, so that's a third entity. Department of Conservation and Recreation, we took a lot of their roads back in. So there's 4 entities, and then plus any new jobs that came in as MassDot. So with all those entities coming in, people came in with different pay jobs, different titles, different scales, different experiences. But as they're in here, as they're all operators. So we're all waiting for Mass DOT to come out with titles, positions, so that we can hire new people. Because their old titles are really defunct, they're no good, but the new ones aren't out yet, so we don't have anybody to hire to backfill our needs. So we're really trying to push to get things moved along.
You mean that somebody has fired? Or?
Well, like some people had retired, or some people moved on to different jobs.
직접 고용을 한다고?
이제 4개 기관 합치는데요. 이제 하버 매니지먼트하는 것도 합쳐지고, 그다음에 여기 원래 기존에 있던 하이웨이를 합쳐지고 합치는 4개가 합치는데요. 합치면서 그 사람들을 다 묶었는데, 새로운 타이틀을 다 부여했는데, 또 그렇게 하고 나니까 뉴저인데 새로운 사람들을 하이어했는데, 기존에서는 파이어냐고 보니까 리타이어를 많이 했다고
그럼 이 센터가 옛날에 몇 개월 나눠줬던 게
합쳐진 겁니다.
통합센터가
네, 통합센터가
이거는 저기 보스턴 산하에 있어요.
MassDOT, Massachusetts DOT.
Okay. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me if anything pops up. But that just gives you a picture that we need some more bodies and people down here. There are 2 managers, myself and Eric, who's off today, and that's it. So we need to have some better management, so we have people here round the clock to manage all the operations. So along with those 5 entities, we also have many new functions and activities coming in that are now part of our job that never were before. One of the main elements is getting into social media. There's a MassDOT has a Facebook page. We don't monitor that. But Twitter and the post out to the public. Our notifications indirectly go out to Twitter, but they're trying to add that component. So we've gone from a traffic incident management type of an organization to incident management plus traffic reporting and conditions reporting. So like you would see on the TV and the news. And it's a very different core competency, a function that we have to do here, and that's just a whole additional thing that we're
최근에 젊은 사람들은 이제 다 사용하는 게 소셜 네트워크나 그런 애들을 하려고 하는 이유가 뭐냐면 정보들을 빨리 페이스북에 뿌려주고 뭐 트위터에 뿌려주고 그런 사람들이 들어오고 그 다음에 그거 가지고 또 이제 그 여러 가지 다른 연결된 사업들 할 수 있는 사람들이 하려고 있고.
So in this operations center, one of the key differences between this or any other one in the country is, of course, the infrastructure, the bridges and the tunnels, and the electrical systems and all the functionality and things that are in the city, which many operations centers are just traffic, roadways, lights. But we have a lot of the facilities components. And the biggest piece is the ventilation. As Bob mentioned, if we don't have ventilation control, we can't control down there, you have to shut the tunnels down. And that would, of course, shut down the city, and that would be very, very problematic. So we want to make sure that system is all in place. So the ventilation, as you saw those massive fans, there are about 215 of those fans that constitute the system. They reside in 14 different vent buildings, and there are 32 different zones in the tunnel system, plus the Sumner Cal, Herring, the Cana, and Prudential tunnels. So you're looking at 36 or so different zones of ventilation. They're all location specific, so that if there's an area in a northbound tunnel, we can change the fans to more supply, more exhaust, so we have the control. It's we monitor carbon monoxide and particulate matter, and the fans will raise and lower as needed. It's 11:30 right now, so the fans, as you see, is some southbound. The fans, we will raise them up slowly from step 1 to step 3, just to push some fresh air. As you see, it's the weekend and the getaway. You can see that the southbound traffic is really stopped. We monitor the carbon monoxides, and as you see, the numbers are not high, they're not at a threshold, but just because you have a lot of slow traffic and exhaust, you just move the fans up. And it's easier just to move them up slightly and let them run versus oscillating in speeds up and down, so less wear and tear on the system.
저기 기본적으로 벤틸레이션 하는 게 센서는 CO2 센서입니다. 그거 가지고 얼마나 저런 경우에 CO2가 높아지기 때문에 팬을 자동으로 빨리 돌려주고, 그래서 여기가 관리하는 게 14개의 그 벤틸레이션 존 빌딩이 있고 36개의 그 관리존으로 나눴대요. 그러니까 에어 관리존으로 나누고 이게 총 215개 뺨시들에게 겁니다. 그거를 얘네 자동으로 지금 CO2 체크해서
And so again, that's a nice dashboard, but that's how the ventilation system is broken down. So it self-corrects, it can be run by the operators, and there's multiple redundancies, so the fans and systems can be run in the field should this building be ineffective. And you could even go right down to controlling the individual fans as you saw today. Another feature is we've got about 900 cameras that come into this system, into this operations center. And even if you have 9 operators, it's about 100 to 1 ratio. It's an awful lot of cameras to have to monitor at a time. At the workstations, camera feeds are divided up by geographic areas. So each person has an area and a specific collection of cameras that they want to be looking at. and the feeds will also auto-index, so that, for instance, a northbound tunnel at the workstation, the cameras will index every 6 seconds, and so they don't have to keep doing that. Plus, we have the large display in the front. What's interesting is this representation here is about 200 of our tunnel cameras.
Okay.
And we bought a software package that detects anomalies in motion on a screen. So we piggyback the video feeds in the tunnel. And the software, let's say, make an analysis. I'm going to use northbound 153 as an example. The software reads the image and says I have slow traffic, but it's steady, so there's motion bottom to top.
Yeah.
And it reads it, and as traffic adjusts, the variable. But if there was an accident, and now traffic suddenly stopped and there's brake lights, the software, in essence, says, hey, what happened? Everything stopped abruptly. An alarm will go off, and the video will come up on somebody's screen. So even if the video is not on somebody's display or on this wall, the software is watching all the time. And if there was an accident, say, just before the camera, and now there are no cars and no motion, the software does the same thing. In essence, where did everybody go? Triggers an alarm, the icon turns to red, and the video will pop up on somebody's screen to react.
여기를 비디오가 지금 여기 200개 비디오이기 때문에 다 못 비춰져, CCTV를. 근데 CCTV 자체적으로 소프트웨어가 있어가지고, 소프트웨어에서 그 CCTV가 이게 이제 이 덴시티가 높아지거나 또는 차량들이 안 움직이게 되면 자동으로 팝업이 된다. 그래서 그 자동 팝업돼서 비디오를 보고.
한번 가공을 해주는 거죠. 왜 얘가 멈췄는지를 실제적으로 못 보고 소프트웨어적으로 가공을 해주는 거죠.
여기서 이렇게 노멀리 돌아오는 것도 있는데 일반적으로 다 보지 않고 그렇게 돼서 소프트웨어가 이제 가공이 돼서 딱 올라오면 그걸 먼저 보게 돼서 얘네들이 이제 레드라이트 딱 뜨고
차가 받아갔어요. 복잡을 하고 무슨 정보를
그렇게 그런 식으로 지금 하고 있답니다.
So that system has been a huge help for the operators because as you sit for hours and hours looking at screens, you start to.
Right.
So that's been a huge help. We monitor the electricity that comes into the system from 15,000 volts down to 480 volts. We don't control that, we just monitor that from here. We have about 40 different pump stations, and that's either low points, there's water in the tunnels, or the rainwater that comes into the system, where it gets pumped out to. So we monitor 40 different pump stations. Like I said, there are 14 ventilation buildings. We have different electrical substation buildings. We have a security system, so we have access control and intrusion on the infrastructure, including the tunnels and the bridges. Communications, radios, if there are failures in any of the networks, failures with the phones, let's say, all those data points come in. I think we're at about 90,000 data points that report into this facility. And this facility is designated by MassDOT as the central focus for any incidents or anything to do with traffic. So if there is an incident on the road or in any of our buildings or any of our property, people call in, report it, generate a report, and we'll send out notifications and dispatch people accordingly. Last year, we're in between 50 and 75,000 events were generated from here. It could be as simple as some of our digital video recording, DVRs are out. Tunnels, cameras, and the immediate area around it in the Boston area, those cameras are recorded 24/7 on a rolling DVR window. The rest of the state, it's not recorded. Mass Turnpike used to record video. The other entities didn't. We're waiting for Mass DOT to make a ruling on the policy of video. We love it for after action reports. We love it for accountability. We love it to see what happened and who's to, say blame if a truck comes in and hits some of our infrastructure. The state police report to us. So if there's an incident of any kind, they will ask for the video, and they'll use it for prosecution, for any number of reasons. On that side, it's an invaluable tool. On the other side is we're almost at a movie-making house now because we get so many requests from the public. What's called a Freedom of Information Act. So if
Yeah.
I
Security, privacy issue, right?
so
Yeah.
it's available to the public. They go through our legal department or state police, and then I have to make a video of what's on there. And it can take an awful lot of time to do that. It's not a core function, but it's an expanding one now that people know that we record issues.
So you're saying somebody local getting in an accident, they could request for a video from you guys?
I don't. I
insurance
take
purpose?
the request indirectly. If somebody were to contact me or come in and say, I was in an accident, I'm looking for video, it has to be approved by either state police
Okay.
or MassDOT's legal department. So I won't issue any video to an individual or to the media. That will go through public relations, legal, state police.
Right.
I'll give it to them. So oftentimes you'll see on the news of an event and there's pictures, and it's from in here. It's one of our cameras, one of our videos. In fact, there's one I just happened to take a picture with my phone on the screen, and that was on the news. But I'd given that to PR, and then they in turn sent it out. So the onus isn't on me for determining who it is that's on the phone asking. Leave that for somebody else. One of the things that we record is obviously larger accidents, car fires in the tunnel. Everybody's always concerned about them. We have about 6 or 8 inside the tunnel system each year. Given the ventilation and all the redundancy I mentioned, they're almost routine events. So, City of Boston, their fire department responds, we dispatch them. If it's a large enough event, there is a workstation dedicated for the fire department to come up and take incident command. And what's unique with the tunnel system is we actually talk on the fire department's radio. So if there is a fire engine and he's reporting, and say it's a medical emergency, a heart attack, a diabetic shock, a pregnancy, the car is not on fire, smoking, there's no way to really tell what vehicle in all the slow traffic is the problem. So if I was to call your dispatch and then you in turn talk to the engine, that might take 30 seconds. By that time, they could have driven right by the car that had somebody who's having an incident. So we'll actually talk on the radio for the fire department and the ambulances. We'll see them on the camera and say, slow down, move to the right lane, to the left lane, it's just up ahead. So we'll talk directly with them, and it's saved an awful lot of time, because if they miss, they just have to keep going, and then somebody else has to come in. You can't just turn around and go back. It's not like on a surface street.
문제 터지면 30분에 전부 관리 체계들이 전부 가동이 된대. 그래서 문제 그래가지고 폴리스 들어오고 파이어 들어오고 다 들어와서 해결해가지고 그래서 문제 터진 경우에 만약에 사고 났을 경우에 레코딩 받았는데 그게 사고 난 사람 직접 전화하면 여기서 주지 않는데요. 그리고 그 언론에다 주지 않는데 여기서는 퍼블릭 하는 어토리티에다가 주고 폴리스한테만 준대요. 거기서 해결하죠. 레코딩한 거는 일반인들한테 절대 주지 않는 거예요.
Do you have a question? If you think of one, feel free.
Good job.
So that being able to talk to the first responders directly on the radio has been a godsend. At first, it was a little strange for both sides because everybody had their own, you know how it is with the departments. But it's been tremendous in that ability to respond. In the tunnel system, we have a response time, detection within 3 to 5 minutes, somebody on scene within 3 to 5 minutes, and then scene cleared within 20 minutes. So that's pretty quick. For surface roadways across the state, detection within 20 minutes and clearance time is up to 2 hours under. Well, on the surface streets, it's easier to detour. Or on the highways, you can get off a ramp or it's 5 lanes across, or you can use a breakdown lane where the tunnels don't have it. And also for security reasons. We don't want anybody down in the infrastructure for that long of a period, so we want to get them in, and we have the concentration for rush hour traffic, for you know, as you see the people trying to get away, you want to have all lanes open at all times.
문제 사고가 나면은 기본적으로 3분에서 5분 사이에 정비 디텍션이 완료가 되고 다 처리되는 데까지 20분이면 끝나게 됩니다. 근데 이제 위에 지상에서는 지금까지 문제가 터지면 20분 정도 디텍션이 되고 그다음 심지어는 어떻게 보면 2시간까지도 디스패치 할 때 걸린답니다. 여기는 시큐리티 리스크 때문에 굉장히 빨리 처리하는
Okay. Hey, Marty, can you just do the pan tilt zoom 350 and kind of show how you can get a license plate? So we have the traffic cameras, and you know, as you can see motion, you wouldn't be able to get a license plate at high speed. But all the cameras at pan tilt and zoom.
Yeah.
So for instance, if there's an incident, come in, zoom in.
Okay.
And you can see the license plate. And what we'll do is we take that video feed and give it to the police dispatcher who sits next door. Why is that good? Well, one, it allows us to see how many people are in the car. Is there anybody injured? Get the license plate and send the video next door. Now, they don't ask, what's the traffic like? How many people are there? Is anybody hurt? Are there 2 cars? Are there 3 cars? If I give them a couple of video shots, they can determine it and they can dispatch accordingly. Meanwhile, if you know, say we see an airbag had gone off, or there's a crack in the windshield and somebody may have hit their head, we'll immediately call the fire department and EMS and send medical, state police, the tow trucks, etc. So we get that quick detection and quick on-scene time. So that's just a good example for our abilities and, you know, again, to move around. So we have near 100% coverage in the downtown area. As you get more out to the rural areas, obviously the coverage is a little bit lower.
아까 그 레드라이트 딱 뜨면 그 카메라 가지고 딱 찍어가지고 라이센스 플레이까지 찍고 그 차를 찍어놓고 그냥 폴리스 보내면 폴리스가 다 결정하는 몇 명이 사고 났고 뭐 어떻게 됐고 그런 걸 폴리스가 결정해서 폴리스가 다 저기 그 패스가 몇 대 보낼지 여기서 결정 안 해준대요.
And so we talked about the detection here, the ventilation. The next new feature that we have that's come in is what's called a real-time traffic management.
Yeah.
And across the state we have getting close to 500 variable message signs, both fixed and portables. We also have with this pilot program, and what it's doing is it's grabbing the unique identifier from somebody's Bluetooth device, cell phone, earpiece, and there are sensors on signs up and down Route 93 from New Hampshire border down to Canton area. So it's about maybe 50 miles. I think that's about the number. In any case, it determines how long it took from this device to go from here to this point. Calculates time in minutes, and it just does an algorithm with all the feeds coming in. So now we have signs on the side of the road, say from this area to Boston, 11 miles, 18 minutes.
Okay.
So there's real-time traffic information that's out there. That runs itself, and we can override the system, but it's constant information giving to the public and to the commuters out there, but it really doesn't require action from the operators. As before, if there's an incident, it's even today, if there is a big incident, yesterday we had a tractor trailer roll over the entire highway, caused immediate backups at 4 in the afternoon. So we had to put up message boards, you know, seek alternate routes, major accident ahead, etc. So this system here has a real-time running traffic information. Remember I said how we have that new feature. There may not be any incidents, but that information comes in for us. It also goes out to the web. So when you go to those different maps on the 511 or SIG Alert or any of those, that takes some of our information.
So question becomes, when you get the data from the road, you say some sort of the wireless phone and Bluetooth, whatever the case may be, and who's going to collect the data?
We will, I'm not overly sure on the data collection, but I do know that it doesn't gather personal information. It does not gather, say the serial number, and it comes up with Mike Fitzpatrick and my phone number and where I live. All it does is it just grabs a unique identifier, grabs it. I believe the individual numbers and what they use to track, I think that's dumped off. However, I believe there's data collection in the average speeds in a stretch of roadway, but it doesn't correlate to the individual data points. So there's no concerns with privacy. We've taken that out of the equation.
Just in case, so T-Mobile company to take the data and they send you, or you just collect it?
We just collect it directly. There are readers right on the signs on the road.
Oh, I see.
So as you drive by, there'll be a pole, and I believe these look like a white box about this big.
Right, it's kind of base station to collect the communication data, right?
So as it goes by a sensor, comes in, and then it detects it over here. Say it's a mile, and it took 2 minutes.
Okay.
So it'll have all these bits that come in between here and here, and then it'll calculate between the 2 points, 1 mile, 2 minutes.
Okay.
And that's the average at every point.
You manage the stations, right?
Yes. A contractor is managing it right now.
직접 얘네들이 설치했어.
Do you by any chance in the future integrate that tracking system as catching people speeding?
No.
셀룰러
We will,
얘네들이 직접
that is
설치했어.
purely a law enforcement topic.
여기서는 저기 고정시계
One question would be, if, say there was a car speeding and we did do that and we said, this Bluetooth device went from here to here much too quickly, they had to have been speeding. If you don't have it on video, and then if I was a passenger and I was on my phone, I wasn't the one driving, and you backtrack the Bluetooth identifier and say it's me, I wasn't the one driving.
But will you make a note and send it to the state police so they can pay attention to it?
Ideally, they'll be able to watch. The blue color code indicates that speed is above the posted speed limit. But where that's an average of an algorithm, it's really not an individual's piece.
Okay.
So they stick primarily with that law enforcement function with the radar gun or the laser gun, and that's purely theirs. This is just for traffic information. So we're very conscious in keeping that line separated from traffic information, traffic management, incident management, and the law enforcement. If there is an officer running a speed trap, and he asked, we'll put a camera on a generic area. Unfortunately, last year we had a trooper out with the gun, and somebody hit him and kept going. So we had to look at the video, give pictures to the media, so they did a search to try and find the guy that hurt the officer. But that's as far as we go.
Right. Can you possibly zoom in from the video with your high-def camera and catch the license plate number?
With the cameras we have now, we will not be able to catch a license plate. These are traffic cameras, so you're looking at a summary, a macro view. Even the best high-speed cameras at the distance of in the ceiling or on a pole, I don't know of any that can grab a license plate. The cameras in, say, the toll booths, when it's slower traffic and they come in, they have specific card readers, plate readers. State police have cameras when they patrol parking lots. They can read the license plates, but our cameras are not designed to read license plates unless we saw the zoom in on a fixed vehicle, like we talked about earlier.
Right. What definition you guys are using in the camera? What high definition that you guys are using?
None of these are high definition. I think the refresh rate is, for the most of them, is about 30 frames a second. I don't recall what the resolution is. And there is no single resolution either. Remember, I talked about all the entities coming in. As you see, some of the feeds on this side That came from former Mass Highway, and some of them are analog feeds that come in, and then they're switched over. Others are digital feeds that come in. So the resolutions, the refresh rates, the picture quality of all the agencies, I don't have a singular answer, is because
It varies.
It certainly, yes. As things become obsolete, we'd like to replace items, but again, with budgetary items and such, you get what you get.
So, how many people are working? Is it, official employee here?
In this building?
In this building.
We have 30.
Just excluding the contractor.
We have 30 employees, 30 operators, I believe it is, 2 managers, and we're looking to have a staff 45 to 48 people in order to handle all the things that we do. As I said, the merge, we have over 50 applications that we're running in here.
Okay.
I think there are 5 different platforms to put messages on boards. They don't talk to each other, so I need to maintain 5 message libraries. And, accident ahead, stay left, everyone's got to have it. We run an awful lot of public service announcements on our message boards. I believe today's that's running the weekend says move over for emergency vehicles. So if you're going through, that's all run from here. Again, we have the 400 boards. So you may have, for an incident, or say a Amber Alert, an abducted child, and we want to get every sign up in the state. So if I need to get 500, I might have 6 people tied up just typing in messages. Whereas if we were able to get to what is the next phase, what they call advanced traffic management systems. It's one library, controls all the boards. I type the message in once, it goes to all the boards. And that would free up other operators to be able to do other functions. But trying to manage 50 disparate systems is a logistics nightmare. We make it happen, but it comes at a cost of very lower efficiencies than you would like. Okay,
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So again, we're probably one of the most complex operations centers in what we have to own, manage, maintain, respond to. Do we have the most cutting edge equipment? No. Do we have the biggest footprint? The size of Massachusetts isn't huge, but nobody's got the complex infrastructure that we have. So in one respects, we're the most probably complex and dynamic, but in other senses, they may have a bigger footprint, but they don't have as much things going on. They may not have as many data points or as complex of a system to maintain. Okay?
Thank you. Yeah.
IT system inside the train. I see there's just like a camera there.
Are you looking at the bottom?
Yeah.
That, the one that turned blue, that means an operator.
I mean, just what kind of IT system? Like the CCTV camera?
They're all CCTV. The software actually just, we take a splice, what splices into the video feed. And we've only done it in the tunnels because it's a controlled environment. There's no night, there's no day, no snow, no shadows. And it's consistent. The variables that we plugged in work for inside. Once you get outside, shadows at dusk and dawn, snow, seagulls, birds, it generates an awful lot of false positives, traffic. So we didn't expand outside. We'd like to, but we're going to take this, expand it into our other tunnel systems first, and then reevaluate going back outside.
Okay.
Tunnel has the VMS sign inside the tunnel.
The tunnel has a
VMS sign inside.
Oh yes, there are.
I didn't see it when you come here.
Inside the tunnels, they're usually a one-line message board because there's of clearance space.
Right.
So they're smaller ones, and being in the tunnels, as you notice, it's not in a straight line. So we want to limit the distractions. If there's a traffic, if there's an accident, if there's something going on, keep ahead of. But public service campaigns, public service announcements, weather or any of that stuff, we don't put inside the tunnels because we don't want to have a distraction. Outside, sure. You got a big sign off in the
I know,
distance,
yeah.
you can see it. But inside the tunnels, it's pretty much incident driven.
저기 보이잖아, 저기 하나짜리. 조그만 게 메시지 사인 하나 보이잖아.
Let me see. Marty, are you in an incident? Do you have a shot where you can show a VMS inside the tunnel? If you want. He'll pull up one of the signs that's inside. And a couple, two Mondays ago, there was a truck carrying a backhoe, piece of equipment on the back, and he actually knocked down two of our signs. We have an overheight vehicle detection system around the tunnel system. He triggered 3 different alarms, and 3 different message boards said for him to stop or detour, and he didn't. He just kept on going and knocked down.
So you send state trooper to catch
못
them?
들어가게 하는데 그
We got him on the video. He drove right through, but with the video, and somebody on staff actually had the license plate because we got him.
Really?
Oh, they got him, yes.
But did you instantly notice state police to
We
chase after them?
did. We got them because we had the 3 overheight vehicle alarms as he came in. When we get those alarms, is we'll tell state police that
조그맣게 해준 거죠.
the overheights have been tripped, and then we'll try and figure out who it is on the cameras.
여기 222 여기 보여주네. 222.
You got it? Oh, here,
Bang on the traffic sign, right?
he's working to get one up there. So in any case, we get the overheight alarms, is we'll notify state police that there's no overheight vehicle. So even if he
높이 있네.
doesn't
높이 객도 있네. 이렇게.
cause any damage, if he's overheight in the tunnel system. All right, here we go.
Okay, alright.
And there's obviously 2 characters that are out. Plot ahead is plan ahead. But that's what a singular line message board.
What with the PLA?
The N is out, the D is. It's just that character on the board is probably has to be addressed by the communications department. So it's supposed to read plan ahead.
Okay.
Thank you for your...
Very nice.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
That's okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Alright. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, you're very welcome. I hope you enjoyed it today.